And good evening, everyone, from Las Vegas. This is the Sports Adrenaline Show. It's number one versus number two in the Pacific Division showdown between the Vegas Golden Knights and the San Jose Sharks. Game is currently underway. Just dropped the puck. UNLV upsetting rival UNR on the road last night as an underdog to snap a 16-game Wolfpack home winning streak. We'll discuss the latest Rebel victory as well as the first-place Lady Rebels, right? That's coming up.
Heck yeah.
The full UNLV football recruiting class is in order. Yesterday in the second phase, 9 new additions. In the late signing period announced that we were all there. The Las Vegas, I get Vegas and Las Vegas confused. The Las Vegas Lights, they're going to be unveiling, or they did unveil their new jerseys, their new uniforms.
Tony's a little scattered.
Directed himself.
Tony's a little scattered this evening. It's okay.
Just take it over.
It's okay. No,
go ahead. No, go.
But I don't have a script. I'm just saying. I'm just trying.
I don't think Tony does either.
Just trying to ease you into this.
Haley Brooks, how you doing? Congratulations on the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Wow.
Well,
Oh wait, did you just do the eagle? Come on, do it again. Fly, Eagles, fly. I was just warming up earlier when I was singing Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Well, we have another song too, but you can't really sing that one.
It's not appropriate. Although this is
most
not
of what Philly did this week
is,
was not appropriate.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
It's not regulated by the FCC, so you're okay.
Well, it's not with Jason Kelsey. I mean, he took full advantage.
That was phenomenal.
We could just
by
play
the
that
way.
whole thing and have our
It
last
was
show
an
ever.
amazing
In the
speech.
history of
Very good.
speeches.
Very good. Yeah.
Amazing.
So you've got some tasty cakes for the guys?
I
Some
do.
crimpets?
I didn't think you guys would know what tasty cakes are.
Well, there was
but-
tasty cakes and tandy cakes. Did you ever have tandy cakes?
candy cakes.
No. Tandy. Tandy. Tandy
No.
cakes from back there. Anyway, phenomenal speech. Millions of people lined up today.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. I
And-
cried so much this week.
Yeah.
It was
I wish we
awesome.
could show some clips
I
of
think she's
Kelsey.
getting a little choked up right
I
now.
know.
How
I wish
do
we
we
could
get
show
you to
some-
cry right now?
Some of the clips from
Play that
the
speech.
speech today.
Can you take us through the last play? So your emotion, the very last play of the game, right? I mean, I don't know if you
well-
saw what Kobe Bryant's reaction was, but that video was great.
Holding his baby.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
really cool. So what
I
was
saw
your-
that. Well, honestly, knowing Tom Brady and what he can pull off, I was nervous. I was scared. And then, the beer's flowing. So next thing I know, we won a Super Bowl. I went from scared.
Just be
Words
glad
That's all
she remembers.
Whoever the defender was, be glad he pulled Gronk down because Gronk
was
actually had a good
he was
angle at it.
close. He was close. And then we sacked Brady there towards the end too. And it's just
Love
like
the
it was we.
Weed,
Right.
not
Weed.
weed. I think he said
We
yeah, I just said weed.
Yeah.
we'd have sacked him. It was so much about that game. The Philly special was my highlight of that whole entire game.
Oh, yeah,
when
we'll get
Nick
into that
Foles-
for sure.
Yeah,
that was great.
You know they got that from the Chicago Bears, just so you know.
the
Well,
Bears
it's
got
called
that
the
from a
Philly
college
special.
team.
So
Right.
Before you start going
And this
crazy, that was
Matt Barkley.
that
Matt
was a
Barkley,
Clemson play, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
All I
Before
know
it
is
was a
that the
Bears
Philly, the Eagles said they got it from the Bears, and that's on the record. So
well, that's
You're
fine.
welcome.
Whatever, we used it and it worked.
You're
so.
welcome, but I'm not a Bears fan.
And so,
I don't know why you
Kelsey
care.
was dressed up as a mummer.
A mummer,
And people don't
yes.
know that are
No.
not from the East Coast do
No
not
idea.
know what mummers are.
Not a clue.
Yeah, I
Guesses?
just had to explain it to these guys. So,
So
on
every
New
year,
Year's Day,
on New Year's
Looks like a
Day,
gypsy.
there's a huge parade in Philadelphia.
A what?
Because I used to watch it on TV.
Huge.
Huge. Is that a
Huge
Y?
parade.
that
There's
was
a
the
huge-
Bernie Sanders East Coast.
parade.
Huge.
Huge.
And people dress up. It's like a Mardi Gras sort of,
Yeah, my grandfather was a mummer. He played the saxophone, and they do the dances.
So they dress up
and
with, and that's what
Did you
Kelsey
say
did
your
today.
grandfather was a mummer?
My
I'm sorry.
grandfather
mummer.
was a mummer.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds
Big
that sounds
tradition.
like more of a profession than it does like an outfit.
No, it is a profession.
Okay.
It's a once a year profession. Like it's a whole.
Right.
You get like Oompa Loompa themes and like all kinds of things. And
So-
it's a performance. It's a
So
parade.
there's only a certain number of mummers. Like not anybody can be a mummer. That's
Well,
what
if
you're
you
saying.
get people together, you can form your own.
I'm still confused, but it's okay.
It's okay.
I still don't know what a
Watch it on
mummer
That's,
is.
what,
Philly.
that's what
Philly.
Google is for. Yeah. So thanks and congratulations. And we'll be checking in with you, Haley. If you have any comments, please put them on our Facebook page, and we'd be glad to get back to you. Let's start off, guys, with the knighthood and the action at San Jose tonight. So they come off of an emotional loss in Pittsburgh on Tuesday due to the Golden Knights, finally returning back home here on Sunday when they take on the Flyers, and that'll kick off a 7-game homestand. San Jose comes into tonight's game with a 2-3 record on the road, and the Sharks have lost 3 straight on their home ice. how's this game going to go?
It's going to be a win. It's going to be. Let's be honest. The Knights have dominated the Pacific Division this year, right?
Correct. They're 10-1, 10-1
12.
in
I
their
think
last
12-1
11.
Well, overall in the Pacific
They
Division.
won 10 of their last 11. Yeah.
Yeah, 12-1-1.
But now it's like
they're
they're going
dominating the
to
division.
after this homestand, they do the home and home with the Kings, and they're going to have to continue to beat these teams in the Pacific Division if they want to hold that top spot.
Well,
There's a 10-point lead currently going into the game tonight.
Let's look at what we were. We'll rewind a little bit and look at what we were nervous about when the Knights started as hot as they did. We were nervous about when they had extended road trips and how they would do. Right, Tony? I mean, that's something that was a concern. They have. Obviously they're leading the West, but they're first in road wins in the Western Conference. Which is pretty incredible. 16 road wins, second in home wins, one behind Winnipeg right now.
That's Stacey
Not sure if
Ogman's
he's
jersey.
processing all of this, or
was that Stacey Ogman's jersey right there?
that's Stacey's. Yes, it is.
So,
we'll get to that later.
So let's back up even a little bit more. So if you've been
being
watching
called
the
out here in
show
case
at
you weren't
all
ready for
over
this
any
one.
sort of length of time, anytime we talk about the Golden Knights, Tony Cordasco usually qualifies it with, here's a tough stretch for the Golden Knights. They're going on the road for the next 3 games. This is a tough stretch. So the latest Dasco tough stretch, trademark, 11 out of 13 on the road. That road trip is now over.
Right.
The Golden Knights in that 13-game stretch went 6-4-3.
Okay.
So you tell me.
No. This is the
Where you're
last
at.
game of it. So
Is it?
they could be six. They'll be
sorry.
6-5-3.
So I'm sorry.
6-5-2. 6-5-2. They'll be.
It's 2, yeah, 6-4-2.
6-5-2.
You're calling a loss tonight,
Yeah, absolutely.
based on
just based
the
on
Knights
the
have
fact
been playing great on this road trip, minus the
Okay.
Minnesota game and 15 minutes in the Pittsburgh game.
I don't think there's going to be Thursday night games.
San Jose,
traditionally
you
are
just
under
talked
games
about
as far
losing
as the total
3 in a
goes.
row at home.
And the last 6 Thursday night games for the Knights have been low-scoring affairs. So
The last 6
this will
Thursday
be,
night
Here's
games.
what day of the
This
week
will
it
be
is.
like
Did you just say Thursday
is
night
this?
games?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I got a stat for you. How about this? Since December 3rd, okay, since December 3rd, the Knights have 8 losses, okay?
Right.
All but one of them, which was the Minnesota game, was by 1 goal or in a shootout. How about that? So what does that tell you?
playing
They're not getting
second.
blown out.
Means
Yeah.
they're slumping.
Well,
they're
it-
obviously slumping.
Well,
No,
what it
hey,
means
if they
is they're in
continue
every
to-
game, and you have a couple different
If they
bounces,
continue
and
to have
they could have
3
won any
delayed
number of
game
those.
penalties in a game, and if they continue to turn the puck over in their own end, then
Tony, it's one game. What about the Washington game where they went to Washington,
Guys,
the leader
you're
in the
making me-
Metro, and won 4-3 at a 9:30
if I
start?
really believe what I'm saying.
you're-
Oh, you've been on it since
I
day
just
one,
stirred
so
it
we're
up.
pretty,
Thank you.
pretty sure.
No,
that-
really, where are you at, Tony? Because I think, and to a certain extent, I kind of agreed with you. I mean, this was going to be a really tough test. 11 out of 13 on the road. They've won 6, they've lost 4, and they've lost in overtime twice.
Right.
So, I mean, what does that prove to you? They have the most wins in the Western Conference, Tony. I don't know what else you need to see if you're still on that kind of side where this is not an elite NHL team.
Well,
it is an elite
they're
NHL
third in the
team.
entire league in goals scored.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
No.
They're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win the
No,
Pacific.
they're going to lose out. I mean,
They're absolutely
mean,
going to win the
guys,
Pacific.
you
The
have
West
to
is up for
understand-
grabs, but they're going to win the Pacific.
You have to understand the Pacific Division, where it's going to get tighter, and I think the Kings are going to have a lot of say, down the stretch. There's only like 30 plus games now to go in the season, and they're almost assured of making the playoffs. But I still,
There's absolutely no way they're not going to make the playoffs.
I
Short of this
still
team
have to
never
believe-
playing again,
I
they're
still
going to make
have
the
to
playoffs.
believe that they will stumble. Do you guys understand
At
that?
some point,
how
yes.
tough it's
Define.
going to
Okay,
be?
so hold on.
Well,
What's
Define
a stumble
stumble
for them?
Yeah.
So-
I want to know what your
so even the
definition
good
of stumble
teams
is.
will lose 2 or 3 in a row.
Is that going
Penguins
to come
have
on the
lost
road,
to
or is that
3
going to come
4.
at home?
So that's 6. And if you lose 3 games and the second place team wins those 3 games, that's 6 points, and suddenly things tighten up.
Well, that's true, right? That is true. And they will hit a stretch. I do believe that, where they might lose, let's say, 5 out of 7 or 4 out of 6.
Why?
That's gonna
Why?
happen,
Hold
but
on.
that's-
Why?
but I
Why?
think that's more law of averages than anything else. Typically, a team hits any sort of stretch like that.
Unless you're one of the better teams in the league and you consistently stay away from long stretches of losing.
But I guess, would you be surprised if they hit a kind of stretch like that?
Absolutely.
You would.
Yeah.
I
If
just
you
think
asked
it's law
me
of
2 months
averages.
ago, no.
Yeah.
If you asked me 2 months ago, I would have said, yeah. And I even did say it. This team's going to come back down to earth. Enjoy the ride right now because eventually they're going to start playing down to their level. Their level is up here now. We understand how good this team is.
Okay, but I'll
and how
tell you
good they
what
can
I
be.
think, what concerns me about the team, and I think we saw it on this road trip. When they have several games in a short amount of time, they can lose their legs in that second or third game.
Well, that's true.
Back to
That's
back.
true of any
Absolutely.
team, though. But the good thing about the Knights is they play 4 lines consistently. Most teams don't play 4 lines throughout the entire game. They shorten that bench up. The Knights play 4 lines all the time, so they actually have the benefit of not being as tired. The back-to-backs are going to kill you a lot of times. Tony likes to talk about that a lot. We saw it for the first time in Minnesota where they actually came out really, really flat, never got their legs.
San
Yeah.
Jose scored, by
You
the
could
way.
see
We're down
early in that
1-0.
game.
Yeah, you could see that early. Bounce back games. The Sharks have won 8 bounce back games, and the Golden Knights 7 on the season. Coming off of losses. You go back to the travel, right? So they play in Winnipeg, minus 40, I think, with the wind chill. They're an hour and a half in customs. They get to the hotel. I mean, obviously everyone has to go endure this in the NHL, obviously NBA and what have you. But so they get into the hotel at 2:30, and obviously when they come out, they just really did not have their legs. And there's going to be a lot of nights like that. There will be. I mean, it's just like you said, law.
But
Well,
I mean,
and
I
when
don't
you
think a
hit-
lot's the right way to phrase it. I mean, that's happened to them twice, I think, all season long.
Let's put together. Okay, what do you think an over/under for consecutive losses would be for this team?
They haven't
from
lost
now on?
more than 3.
They've lost 3 in a
lost
row
3 in a row.
twice.
Okay, so
Right.
you'd say 2.5.
I'd say 3. I would just say
But
3.
at the
Well,
same
they have
time,
to hook on
again,
losing
to
3.
the point earlier, you look at the 3-game losing
wanna win
streaks.
something, yeah.
They're losing. When they're losing, they're not getting blown out.
They're in every game, yeah. Even down 5-2 in the third, they end up being in that game with 8
Right.
minutes to go the other night.
Yeah.
I mean, the team. This is the kind of team that you never really count out of the game.
And it really is resiliency. And I asked Gerard Gallant about this at some point. I can't remember the game off the top of my head. It was a game where they scored 3 goals in the second period. I can't remember who they played, but they gave up an early goal in the third period. They were down 2-1, and then they scored 3 straight goals. Maybe it was Columbus. Might have been when Columbus came to Vegas.
That sounds
and he
good.
said it was the best 20-minute stretch. This team has a resiliency that you do not see from any other NHL team, and that goes back to the cohesion and the chemistry, and they don't want to screw it up. This team is as tight as any other team that you will find in any sport. You look at what's happening with the Cavaliers right now and that whole thing blowing up, and that chemistry a disaster, right?
Yeah.
LeBron has to put that team on his back every night. We know that that's not the Golden Knights. It is not one guy that's leading the charge here. It's this team, and they do it better than anybody else, and I think in any
Well,
sport
and they
right
play
now.
well together.
And maybe,
I mean, the
maybe
way they're playing together is, I mean, the way you see them pass the puck to an area where, and they know that somebody's going to be there, is really uncanny.
Right.
It really is. But it's a credit to, yes, coaching, but also it's a credit to how much these guys trust each other and how well they play together.
Yeah,
I wanna go
and how
back
much
to-
they've grown together. They have improved. It's
Go
just-
back to their legs and
Yeah.
the grueling schedule down the stretch. They have 2 back-to-backs left in the entire season, and one of them's a wash because they play LA at the end of the month,
Here
and then
and
the next
there.
night they play LA. It's a home and home.
right.
So that's a wash. Both teams are on a back-to-back. The other back-to-back is at the end of March. They play St. Louis, and then the next night play San Jose, both here in Vegas, and it's the end of a week being at home before the last 3-game road trip. So those 2 back-to-backs aren't the worst-case scenarios. I think their legs are going to be fine going forward. No different than any other team in the NHL, to be honest.
Yeah, again, I'll say the over/under will be 2.5 games in a row loss, right?
And you're right. That does mean a lot in the NHL to a certain extent. But I mean,
Especially things will get tighter coming down the stretch. The one
but
thing,
you can't cry wolf at.
No,
I mean,
and
you know,
I'm positive, and
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the team.
Are
Not
you?
a fanboy, not a fanboy of the team.
no,
but I am
we're
a
not
fan of the team.
boys. I mean, we'll call them out when we need to. But there's been nothing to call out.
We'll see. We'll just see. Again,
great.
things just tighten up.
Agree
and
to disagree.
I still.
Well, bottom
I
line
still
is they
believe-
continue to overachieve, and they continue to do things that nobody anticipated this team to do.
I don't think just yet, like second time around for a lot of these teams, I don't think that they've been roughhoused, and I really want to see how they react because they have not been in a lot of fights. Every time there's a little scuffle going on, it's just one punch and out. We have not seen where there's like these NHL melees where we'll see how they react.
I don't know. I think we've seen the Knights.
I don't know the toughness of the team.
Are you saying that they're just going to wilt?
It's not.
I think we've seen the Knights play.
It's a small sample size.
How they need to play at different points of the season. When they need to play physical, they do get physical. But when they have a faster finesse team, they can play that game as well.
It's not like they have 23 rookies on the ice.
That's my only
for the most
concern,
part,
and
these are
it's not a
tested
legitimate
NHL
question.
skaters.
No, it is. And again, I'll kind of give you a little bit here, Tony. It was the Dallas game that they went into the Dallas game winning, I think it was 11 or 12 straight at home, and Dallas punched him in the mouth early on, and they won that game 3-0.
3-0.
It was 3-0, right? It was a shutout. But that Dallas came out early and played physical with them, and that's when you see the Knights on their heels or back on their skates for lack of a better term. If a team punches them in the mouth right away, that's when they do struggle a little bit, but it hasn't happened very often.
But then they go back up to Dallas and they punch Dallas in the mouth.
Right. It doesn't happen often, but I mean that would be the recipe if you were to try to beat the Knights. It's to play physical and really get them back on their skates again early and right away. I mean that goes for any team, but I think it's that physicality. But not a lot of teams can match what the Knights do or outplay the Knights, I guess, in the physical.
I remember going on into the 6-game road trip. I remember saying that I think a split would be incredible for this team.
Right,
and
absolutely.
then they come out in those first 2 games and have 2 incredibly emotional wins.
Man.
Had no legs against Minnesota. And then, we saw what happened against Pittsburgh. So if they lose tonight, it's still a split, but they could come out of this road trip 4-2, which I never anticipated.
Yeah, Fleury is like the nicest guy, but he broke his stick.
Oh, he was not happy
coming
with
off
the
the ice
defense.
in the Pittsburgh game. Yeah, the turnovers just absolutely killed him. Hey, did you know that today they announced the rankings for merchandise sales, and VGK is 4th, behind the Rangers, behind the defending Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins, and behind the Chicago Blackhawks. Number 4.
Yeah,
those are 3 serious fan bases there to be in the talks with. So I'll take that.
No Detroit Red Wings, no
that's
Edmonton Oilers,
crazy,
no.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was the Calgary game, right? That they
Calgary,
came back.
Calgary,
right? They came back with about a minute and a half.
3 goals in 53 seconds.
Yeah, but there was the one
53
Golden
seconds.
Knights fan that they kept on cutting to some kid.
A little
it was
kid,
just a little kid, and he turned into a star. Everybody really enjoyed seeing that. But I mean, it's going north of
Johnny
the
is
border.
the voice for the little
Yep.
kid.
Haley, we know that Haley really enjoyed the selfie that the little kid took with Justin Timberlake during the game.
I saw that. I saw his interview.
You weren't drunk yet?
afterwards.
Are you kidding me?
Well, it was halftime. It was halfway there.
Free Bud Light, is that true? Today on the
Yeah,
parade
so
route?
everyone
Only
got
2 sheets
one
to the
free
wind.
Bud Light. Yeah, Bud Light made that promise back in August. They were
Man.
like, if Philly wins the Super Bowl, we'll pay the bar tab.
Philly,
And
Philly,
they ended up winning the Super Bowl,
Philly,
so they had to
was
help
great.
Philly. They
The
had to
commercials
pay
were
us
bad.
the
We'll
deal.
get into all
Yeah,
that.
they were really bad.
Yeah, it was a
Halftime
bad
wasn't
year.
that great either. It wasn't-
Halftime was
It wasn't anything
and the
special.
coverage was
You didn't think
horrible.
so?
No,
I thought Collinsworth
like the
was the
Prince
biggest
thing was
homer.
cool. It was
He was.
cute,
He
but
was.
it wasn't.
Harmonize with Prince, that was awesome.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Super Bowl performance. It wasn't.
I
he
agree
was the
with
only
you.
one there. You got
Do
to
you know how many
I agree
locations
with
he
you.
went to and how
Yeah, one
well
state.
choreographed it was?
He only had.
Lady Gaga
He
came
didn't
into
have
the
any
ceiling.
wardrobe changes, though.
Well,
I mean,
it
how
was-
pathetic is that?
And they were so many bets that were like, how many times are they going to say wardrobe malfunction? Not once during that broadcast was the word wardrobe.
I thought at one point they were just going to put Janet Jackson in that sea of people that he came
Yeah,
through.
she would just be there.
Or I thought we might see NSYNC, but we didn't see them either.
15 years I haven't watched a halftime show. I have no idea
have
what
not
you guys are
watched
talking
it?
about.
You watched the Puppy Bowl.
I go
at
outside
So you
and
watched
play
the Puppy Bowl?
football
Yeah.
every
you
halftime.
wait-
I thought it was the Puppy Bowl.
My family
You
goes
wait until
outside.
the
We
Spice
play
Girls
football.
do it next
Yeah.
year.
We are not going to watch.
You don't have
that
last
I'm
time
in.
I
I
had 4
checked.
daughters.
It's a football game.
We
it's
watch
not a
halftime.
concert.
Do you know who the
Don't
Spice
care about
Girls
the
are?
halftime show.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Of course
Okay.
I know who the Spice
Okay,
Girls
I just
are.
had to check
Wow.
in with you.
Play.
I
Wow.
saw the one concert here in Vegas, and it was moms and daughters dressed up the same way.
Oh my
which
gosh,
was-
we've digressed.
We have gone off the rails.
Shall-
Are there any?
Haley,
is
shall
anyone?
we see if anybody's commented?
Yeah, any
Well,
comments?
Did we say 1-0 San Jose?
Yeah,
1-0 San Jose.
Shark
Yeah.
Sorry,
Story.
Haley.
So
We'll get there
Casey-
eventually.
Sorry, I
Still inviting
tuned
people.
some of you guys out
It's
at
been
some
such
point.
a great week.
sorry, what?
Everyone's
Yeah.
on edge. Casey on the case, a.k.a. Cassius Ramsey, said Vegas Golden Knights will make the playoffs and the young team will be the most successful expansion team in history, or something.
Bold prediction,
they're
yeah.
already shattering records
we're there.
left and right. So that's one thing though too when it comes to the apparel sales. Like it is awesome that they have such a fan base, but you gotta keep in mind nobody's had Knights stuff before, so like they're kind of at an advantage where it's not like you can wear last year's Knights shirt. You got to go out and buy one. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? You're all staring at me like.
But sales right now because
Yeah, but
it's
we're also-
marketing
Right.
sales now.
We're also talking about fan bases that have built
Right.
up fans for, in some
150
cases,
years.
100 years.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is those fans already have shirts and jerseys and
Do they?
everything.
Because Adidas just came out with all new
All new
gear this
jerseys
year
this
because
year.
they took over for Reebok. So
Yeah, but they still have
everybody's
old
gear
ones.
is brand new.
Okay, so everyone who has the money to buy the new ones, okay.
But there's still
I'll give you
throwbacks
that.
out there.
Look, we're in fourth. All right, that's it.
We're in fourth.
We're in
That's
fourth.
amazing, right?
But yeah, come talk to me. I'm lonely over here.
So that's it for
That-
now?
that's the only
That's it for
comment?
now.
Right, we, again, give Haley your comments. And, yeah, of course, Luis Negretti is here, the great
Yeah,
Luis.
Thanks, Luis.
You
We're
guys
going to
cut
see
me
him a
off
little later.
early.
We're going
Of
to see
course.
him a little later. We'll talk about Las Vegas Lights, which we're really,
You didn't
really excited
mention
about
John
them.
Bailey's comment. Did you see that, Haley?
No,
Haley
that's my
Brooks.
dad.
That's Haley Brooks right there, ladies and
What did he
gentlemen.
say?
He said Philadelphia Eagles the only ones to beat Vince Lombardi and hoist his trophy. No other team has done that.
Yep, because
Yeah.
the year before it was called the
Can
Super
we
Bowl.
get him out here and?
Yeah.
and
Did you know it was Jerome Brown's birthday as well? Did you
Today?
know? No, on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, no, I
Oh,
didn't
That's
how
know
why it
about
was
that.
even more emotional.
about that?
Because Rick Strasser is here, Van Couture is here, and John
was
Castaneda.
that the longest intro in history?
Wow, yeah,
what was
I
that?
guess so.
Let's get to the show.
Let's get now on with the show. So we want to talk about the UNLV Runnin Rebels.
Rebels.
Fanboys.
Yeah,
Man, that
I
was-
think that's like the fourth Rebels chant, though, all season.
Right.
We haven't heard it
Oh,
very
it's
often.
been-
So,
Yeah.
It's
so
been
big
light.
win for UNLV.
Huge
last night
win.
Enormous.
in Reno. First time beating a ranked opponent in a couple of years. And UNLV wins that game by 86-78 to halt a 16-game home winning streak for the Wolfpack. That was by far the best performance of the season. It gives us hope that the Rebels are now back on track after they played to this style early on in the season, especially during the non-conference campaign.
I would
And-
say that the Boise State performance was pretty good too. I
No,
mean,
but
they didn't
everyone
finish.
was-
They didn't finish.
It just got me mad that people were talking in quotes and on air, talking moral victories, and that just
No.
kind of set me off. So I was just like,
Sorry,
yes,
Tony, I didn't
they
mean
played
to make you
okay.
mad there.
No, they definitely improved, but we don't get participation medals here, so we don't hand those out. But guys, I want to get your comments on the game. 31 for Mooring, by the way, to
Yeah.
pace the Rebels.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I've known, and it proves it, right? San Diego State game proved it. The Utah game proved it. This team has it in them to play like that. They can play like that. And, I mean, the question is, can they do it consistently? And they have not done it to this point. You see flashes. You see fits and starts. Last night, the scenario was backs against the wall, ranked team, rivalry game. The emotion comes out. The team comes together. They play hard as a team. Javon Mooring plays, lights out. He probably saw the video that I left on Super Bowl Sunday talking about him and how I don't think he should be playing on the floor. Some of those shots, a lot of those shots were pretty fluky that he made, though. But I mean, he had a good game. We shouldn't expect that from him every night, though.
But the
moving
thing
forward.
is, they did this with a very typical to below average game by Brandon McCoy. So I mean, he did not. I mean, he hit some good foul shots late, but I mean, he was pretty much a non-factor in this game, and to see the rest of the team step up was impressive. And yeah, JoJo played great. I mean, but I wish it's all almost like when he decides he wants to show
it's
up.
Inconsistency. I think it's emotion and it's mental state. It's that they play, lax. They play comfortable. They play like they're overconfident. They play cocky, and that's when they don't play well. And I wouldn't be surprised, not to jump ahead. I guess I'll be a believer after tomorrow's game. Do they lay an egg coming back home against a pretty good Wyoming team? Is that a close game, or do they blow them out of the Thomas and Mack building? If they can do that, then maybe I really buy in and think this team is capable of winning a Mountain West championship. But
Well,
if they
that's
lay
what
an egg,
becomes
I
frustrating
don't
because
think
they
that
have the
happens.
potential to
right.
do that.
They
They
don't
have
do
the
it
capability of
consistently.
doing
They
that.
do not do it consistently.
With the exception of how Mooring played off the ball, his hustle, defense, diving all over the place with the ball, he didn't play any different than he has all season.
Yeah.
The only
Yep.
difference is the shots actually fell. They pretty much played the same kind of game that they've been playing all year. Mooring hit shots that he's not. Here's the problem with Mooring. And when he can hit them, he'll fill it up like last night. Career high in 31, 32 points last night?
31. Streak shooter.
But he shot one from the Nevada logo that went in.
Mm-hmm.
He shot one from the corner that he leaned into the foul that we've been talking about
Two
all
of
year,
them.
drawing the foul, that banked
Twice.
in for 3.
Yeah.
He shot one over, 18-footer that he got the foul on, and it went in. Those aren't going to fall
Right.
80%
Can't
of the
count
time.
on that.
No,
What's your opinion on that rule? I mean,
I can't stand that rule.
It is the rule, so he uses
initiated
it,
contact.
He uses it to his advantage. But what do you think about that rule
I've-
overall? About getting the defender in the air and jumping into
I've
him
never
and
liked that
take
rule
shots?
because the foul should be who initiates contact gets the foul. If you, as the shooter, lean into a guy or jump into a guy, I don't care if he's in the air or not, you initiate the contact. The foul should go the other way. It worked in our favor last night, and miraculously those shots fell. But I don't like that rule. I also don't like the fact that you have a player on the court who's supposed to be scoring, whose first mentality is to try to draw a foul. Try to make a shot first before you try to draw a foul.
That bank
If you get
shot.
into the lane
yeah.
and you go up and you get fouled, that's one thing. But if you're sitting on the outside and you have time to shoot the ball, why are you waiting for your man to get in the air and then trying to jump into him to get a foul? Just make the shot.
Well, some could argue that it's creating more offense. I mean, when you make that shot, you have the potential
How
of
often
4
does he
point
make
play.
that shot?
Well, I mean, I understand that.
Maybe 6% of the time?
but he's made more of those shots than I've seen.
But he hasn't
players
made
make.
more than he's missed. So you're already in the negative.
But at least you're going to the foul line and getting free throws. Then I mean, so what's higher percentage?
But the whole point of being a shooter is to
the
make
point
a
is
shot.
that the rule says that if you get the guy in the air and you jump into him, then I mean,
My
so
point
you
is,
could
why
argue-
not try to make the shot first and draw the foul second? He's trying to draw a foul first and make the shot second.
A lot. I mean,
it's
when,
reversed.
When
He
Jordan
should be trying
Johnson
to
drives
score
to the
first.
basket, he's looking for contact as well. I mean,
know.
that they are.
Which is why he's 0 for 5 at the end of a game trying to get a layup on the right side
Now,
against 7
but at the
footers.
end of the game, isn't that different? Don't you want to try to draw contact? A close game. At the
when
end of
has
the
the
game.
Mountain West refereeing
Right.
crew
Well, I mean, you
ever
can never count on
made
them.
that call?
But that's more of a
But it's utilizing the rules that are in play because not only are you getting to the foul line and potentially making the shot, but you're also adding fouls, which helps you
Right.
later in the
Right.
game and can get these guys in foul trouble as well. So with the way the rules are written, it's a smart play.
I don't like to play at all
I
because
like to
if you
play a
look
lot,
at
and
if you look at
if
Mooring's
it's
if you
legal.
look at Mooring's shot selection this year where he's done that and he's gone crazy for 15, 16 shots and made 2 or 3 of them drawing those fouls, what have we done in those games? We've lost those games. He got lucky last night that those shots fell.
Right,
Most
and
of the
if I'm
time
a
that
def-
costs us games.
if
That
I'm a-
shoots the Rebels out of a game.
If I'm a defender, when in your pregame scout, you have to tell the defender. If I'm a coach, I tell the defender not to leave his feet. Don't just stand there and wave your arms. That's it. Like don't leave your feet because he's going to do the pump fake.
And what
then if you
happens-
just stand there, if he'll jump into you, you're stationary. He's going to get charged.
And they
with-
should
he's
scout
gonna get hit
that,
with
though,
charge.
too. The
It
team
should be
should know
scouted.
that's what he does.
Tony, how many times-
If we can see it, right? If all of us can see it at the games, like they should know. And maybe second time around, they're going to play him differently.
How many times have we seen guys where he goes to do that same move, the guy doesn't bite, and he's so off balance, he throws up an air ball or hits the side of the backboard?
Yeah.
Because instead of trying to shoot the ball, he's now fooled himself into drawing a foul that doesn't ever come.
John, you said the word resilience earlier, which is a big word, and I can't really spell that.
Yeah. All right.
You
But-
shouldn't say it then. Don't say words you can't spell.
But I like that UNLV countered a 10-0
Yeah,
run.
they did. They did
with
a
an
great job.
11-0 run.
It was back and forth like that all
and
night.
then it was to close out the game. It was an 8-0 Reno run, and then an 8-0 UNLV run. Obviously, basketball is a game of runs, and the Rebels were able to come back
Yeah.
and to counter it.
Yeah.
Just when you thought like that 10-0 Reno run, I thought that the Rebels were done. I did.
Yeah.
Because all the momentum was going there, and like the 14-0 run, where we should have used a timeout in the previous
Boise
game
game.
against
Boise
Boise.
game,
Yeah, I thought that could happen again.
I thought that the Rebels showed great resiliency in that game because when I was watching that game and when they fell down after that 14-0 run, I thought this thing's going to blow up like it did at the Thomas and Mack, because the same thing happened to them. They were playing well. Boise went on a run, and UNLV had no answer for it. They clenched, and they couldn't do it. Here, they came back and brought it all the way back to having an opportunity to win. Obviously, they put it in overtime, but that shows growth, which is encouraging to me heading down this stretch. And granted, sure, I'm the optimist because I'm a Rebel fan, but it shows me that this team has the potential.
Sure.
You look at the remaining schedule; they could run the table.
And it doesn't. For me right now, they're not going to catch Reno or Boise, right?
Right.
Do we score? Howla!
I'm just giving you the goal sign.
Okay, I got
1-1.
you.
Go.
See, I'm not celebrating, Tony.
Okay, we tied it up at 1.
Yeah.
No, I'm more doing it for Tony's benefit.
I said we.
So back
Eric,
to the
Eric Howla has been playing
back to the Rebels.
really good hockey.
Let me ask you a question about the Rebels.
Oh, not me. Okay.
So okay, they're not going to
No,
catch.
I want
before,
your
let me
opinion.
continue my thought.
All I get is
Okay,
his
okay.
back.
Let me just
That's all I
continue
get.
my thought real
Go ahead.
fast. So you're not going to catch Reno overall, and you're not going to catch Boise. That's all decided. You're not going to get in that large bid. The only thing that the Rebels can do now is just try to improve their seeding, right? So they're not stuck in some bad matchups. And then also just keep continually improving and play for the tournament. Like you have a different approach now. I think your goals have changed, and now you're just playing for the tournament. Not just, but you have to be prepared for the tournament.
Absolutely.
And keep improving every game. I liked when the Rebels went small last night. I do. I like where
Oh,
they
it was
had.
interesting.
Yeah,
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was absolutely the quickest they got up and down the court. I like.
But that was out of necessity. That was out of necessity.
because of
Right.
McCoy's four-person.
Can I tell you something I don't like? Do you mind if I tell you something I don't like?
Matt's question?
No,
already?
Matt's
Oh,
got very
haven't
good
heard it
questions.
yet.
I appreciate Matt's questions. I don't like the fact that it's predetermined that Mountain West is only going to get it's a one-bid league. Things like that. All of these bracketology things, I think, sways the committee and the
Sure.
voters so much.
And there's an East Coast bias.
Okay, because look at
Heavy.
where the Rebels are right now. 17-7. They have 7 games left in the regular season. If they win out, if they do. Calm down.
No. I'm not disagreeing
If
with
they do, and they're 24-7 going to the Mountain West tournament, say they win a couple games in the tournament, losing the championship, suddenly you're 26-8 with 2 wins over ranked opponents. You have quality wins over Utah and Illinois, and
Those aren't good wins anymore, though.
I know you have a couple bad losses in there, but why is that predetermined
Right.
that they couldn't get
Well,
a
I
lower
think
seed?
they played them
I
into
think
the
Boise's-
conversation.
I think Boise's on the bubble right
Yeah.
now. To be
Boise's
honest
on the
with
ball.
you.
I don't think UNLV has a resume, even if they win out at this point, to get an at-large.
Yeah.
Because
I think they're
Illinois
part
and
of the
Utah really
conversation,
aren't
though.
good wins,
Yeah.
even though they're big conferences. They're not really good wins anymore because those teams aren't very good. Reno was the only good win on their schedule at this point, and it's unfortunately in the Mountain West Conference, which doesn't carry a lot of weight.
So what's your question?
My question is, what is your takeaway now after this game? Because, it was a huge win for the program. We finally got over that hump with beating a team that was above us in the standings. It was also a team playing without their best player.
Yeah.
And
Gotta
Javon
play
Mooring,
the team that's in front of you.
I understand that, but Javon Mooring had to make shots that he's not going to make the majority of the time to win that game.
Right.
And it still
Gosh, you
took
sound
them
like
to the
Tony
limit.
now.
No, I because I'm as big a Rebel fan as anybody, but is this a statement win, or is this a win where maybe they can build off of it? 'Cause
I think they need to build off of it. That's a great question, and I don't think, to me, the only statement was that yes, they can play well. Yes, I think we talked about this last week or a couple of weeks ago about the momentum that the Rebels have and the confidence that they have on the road. I mean, they've played very well on the road if you think about it.
If you said that they were going to Boise and UNR,
Yeah.
and they have one win and an overtime loss
Right.
with a chance to win that game, I mean,
Well, I think one of you two called a split. When
I
we were
called a
after,
split
after
too.
the San
I think
Diego
we
State
both
game.
did.
I think I was the pessimist in the group, which isn't surprising. But
I called a split.
And you made it sound like a
Everyone
bad take,
against
though.
Tony
Yeah.
today.
Tape,
Everyone.
it's all our
No, maybe to close it out, but to go back to my earlier point, it really is. This team has to prove that it can do it in 2 games in a row, right? What are they going to do against Wyoming?
They'll come out flat,
They need to
traditionally,
play
right?
like
They'll
the
be flat.
Philadelphia Eagles did against the Patriots and not take their foot off the accelerator. They can't do it. And
I
too
think we need
often
to
they
go that
pump
way
the
for a
brakes.
second.
Too
Yeah.
often this team pumps the brakes and thinks, They play overconfident. We got this. We're down by 5, whatever. We got this. They need to be up by 10, 12 points against any team that they play in this conference, save for Air Force that can't generate any offense. And even then, if they hit a few threes, they're right back in the game, right?
So I was at the supermarket on Sunday morning, and the guy in front of me, the omen that they were going to win, your Eagles, some guy was buying Philadelphia brand cream cheese, which isn't from Philadelphia.
Cream cheese.
But anyway, so that was the omen.
It's the only kind of cream cheese you buy. You ever
Welcome
buy
to
store
Sports
brand
Adrenaline,
cream
Philadelphia.
I think we should head that way for some comments.
cheese?
Any
The
comments?
Philadelphia
We need to
edition.
decompress.
Yeah, we have some Rebel talk. So Patrick O'Donohue has some thoughts. He was saying how McCoy was in foul trouble a lot during that whole game.
That's what causes him not to play.
And then he said that the Rebels are going to need to win the conference tournament to make it to the big dance. And lucky to go 5-2 here in the final 7 games. 4-3 is more like it.
Okay.
He's saying about the Rebels.
You can't disagree with that because, like you talked about, John, the inconsistency.
Roller coaster.
And I say you're not even playing for a lot of wins. Like, yes, you want to win games, but you also want to improve every single possession.
Yep.
And then they'll win games.
Yep.
They play to their competition, do they not?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I
Every
mean,
game.
If they can go on the road and play like they did against Boise and Reno and play at home like they did against SDSU, but then lose at home to teams like Utah State and New Mexico and go to overtime with San Jose, that's absolutely playing to your level or playing to the other team's level. They need to play to their level every game.
Can I give you a bright spot for UNLV basketball?
Yes.
How about the Lady Rebels?
Well, you were at the game.
I was there last night. Lady Rebels improved to 19-0 all time against UNR. Never
We like
lost
that.
to them.
And I like that
granted,
you're calling UNR.
had to hold on. They were up by 20, and it was a two-point game at the end. Maybe
right?
a little nervous. But first place, sole possession of first place in the Mountain West.
9-2, right, in conference?
Big game coming up.
Against Wyoming in their next game. 3 players with 19 or more points yesterday. I mean, they are. Kathy Olivier's got this team in a really good place, and Brooke Johnson is playing great. Nikki Wheatley and Katie Powell. I think they've had 2 or 3 Player of the Week honors this year already in the Mountain West. They are playing really well. So kudos to the Lady Rebels basketball team as well.
If you remember, earlier in the season, they got their tails kicked in by Stanford, by Mississippi State. There was
They won
another
at Gonzaga.
big school they did,
They won at
but that was
Gonzaga.
more a paper win. I don't think Gonzaga's that good of a program in women's hoops, but they got their tails kicked in by some really good teams, and I think that was a glimpse. They saw what they needed to do to improve, and they've done it.
You interviewed Kathy Olivier,
Yeah.
right? And at that time,
After
and you
the
asked
Mississippi
her,
State game.
and you asked her
Yep.
about the non-conference. Do you feel it will make you better, right?
Yep.
In the conference season, and she said, yeah.
Well,
she really-
obviously, and she
thought
said-
that, she thought that they learned a lot.
Yeah, even in games where you're getting your tails kicked in, can you learn? Can you improve? And she said yes, and I think it was something to the effect of, this is the standard that we need to be at. These are some of the top teams in the country.
Well,
and they've really taken
that
hold
to
of that.
the men's team.
Yeah.
I mean, with when they suffered those tough losses, did they show us that they learned from what they took from those games to be able to take it into conference? And I'd say at the beginning of they did not. So you've got to be able to take something from every game. Win or lose, you got to be able to take something.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you guys your opinion. So
Yes.
following the game at Reno last night, the Runnin Rebels have a big celebration in the locker room. This was reminiscent to me of a CBI championship, which you really shouldn't celebrate, but they did up in Reno, and they hung a banner probably like the Florida Panthers did back in the day, whatever. But, what were your thoughts? Why have it? I mean, it is a big game. It's an emotional win. It's your rivalry.
You remember last year, right?
You win the cannon back, right? We should play for the cannon in
What
basketball.
was the score last year up in Reno? 100.
We got killed.
111 to 77 or something
got
ridiculous
crushed.
like that.
Yeah,
Can't
embarrassing.
reference anything to last year.
It was insane, but Jovan Mooring was part of that team, and I heard him talking to Sandler today, and he said that he took it upon himself this season. Yes, Jovan Mooring took it upon himself this season and said, we're going to beat San Diego State. We're going to beat Reno because last year was so bad and those teams
Yeah, he
just
said that
really
early in the
destroyed
season.
them.
Yeah, he said that. He said
and
that
I
early on.
tweeted out last night, he's playing like this game is personal to him, like it's been on repeat in his room on his TV for the last 365 days. And that's how he came out and played. And again, it's not just that the shots were falling. He was all over the court and had came up with that big loose ball in the last 30 seconds of the game that ultimately gave Rebels the
And called a
6-point
quick
lead.
timeout.
Put it away, exactly.
It was a very heady play,
So
It's good.
I understand that celebration. They remember last year. They needed to get this game and pay them back for going up there and just absolutely getting destroyed.
And you know what? These are 18 to 21-year-old kids, and they just won a big game against their rival on the road against a ranked team, breaking a long home court winning streak. Let them celebrate. I think it's great. Let them celebrate. I mean, you can say what you will about storming the court and stuff like this. This was in their locker room, where this is the privacy of their own locker room that happened to be caught on film anyway.
Well, but see,
do they still catch things on film?
The thing that I caught there was that
do they do that?
I thought they were having chemistry issues there for a stretch, right? Mm-hmm. And what I take out of that, my takeaway out of them celebrating in the locker room, is that they're getting along, right?
Yeah,
and they're having fun.
You'd hope so.
So let's
at
hope
this point in the
continues.
season,
yeah. Let's talk.
Going to the end of the first period, by the way, 1-1.
1-1.
Headed to the first intermission.
It's an under game on Thursday nights. The last 6 games have all been under for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah,
5.5. Okay, you know it's going to put it over the top, the empty netter, if the Golden Knights win. There we go. So football, UNLV football. Coach Tony Sanchez yesterday announcing the signing of 9 more recruits yesterday. More national flavor for this class. Out of those 9 players, 7 on defense. And I think Coach was really, impressing yesterday that they are focusing on improving that defense.
Size. That was one thing he really emphasized was size and length. That you got instead of, and he to use his quote, sawed off guys that they've had in there. These 6-foot guys that are real thick but don't have that length, don't have that height. Brought in a bunch of 6'4", 6'3" guys, a lot of wingspan there, and still carrying that weight. So guys that are going to be able to get after it at a much higher level.
I think especially with what we talked about a few weeks ago, that UNLV over the last 10 years is averaging giving up 30 points per game. Defense has to be a priority, and so much of the onus goes on the defensive backs and the passing yards. It's got to start in the trenches. They've got to be able to rush the passer, which they haven't been able to do in years. Mm-hmm. So they've had some good run stoppers, but they've got to be able to pressure the quarterback in order to give their defense more opportunity. And you're hoping with, who knows when you see these lists of all these numbers and all these guys until they actually get into the weight room and get on the field and see what they can do. But you got to like the number of defensive linemen, like you said, Matt, the size of these guys that they're coming in.
Well, I was just going to say, it is a numbers game. You talk about, again, the defensive linemen, they brought in 4 out of the 9, I believe. Or maybe it was 3. Not sure.
And that was of the 9 yesterday. They had the 13 back in December as well.
Exactly. But it's something that Tony Sanchez has talked about, since he arrived here. That's depth on defense. And now, again, we said it a little bit more last year and a little bit more this year. Now they have a new defensive coordinator. They have the depth, and he touched on it quite a bit during the press conference about the defensive line, and I don't think he said that the Eagles specifically, but again, that's just the example that I come up with. They rotate those numbers on the defensive line. Those guys need to be fresh. The front 4 need to be the ones that get the pressure on the quarterback so that they can be more successful in the secondary. You can't do that rotating 4 guys. You got to have 7 linemen that you can rotate in and out constantly, and that's what they're recruiting to. As you said, you don't know, right, until you get these guys on the field. But at least you have big bodies that you can run out there that are fresh, that maybe when you get a tired offensive line that is facing UNLV, that they can hopefully dominate that line. And that's where it starts, right?
I thought the most fascinating question of the press conference yesterday was the question of how much is the new Fertitta football complex and the impending stadium go into recruiting. And Tony really downplayed that question, but I think that's a mammoth thing that UNLV now has that they've never been able to use before. Because think about that. When recruits come out here and they take them out to Sam Boyd Stadium and walk them through the locker rooms, I hope they don't, because the locker rooms are horrible. They're tiny. And the football facilities, while right now what they have, okay, it's decent for a mid-major, but if you want to move forward, you have to compete with the Power 5 conferences, and if you eventually want to be in the Power 5 conferences, you have to have the facilities to be able to match. And the new Fertitta football complex is going to be bigger than Boise State's. And, I can't believe for a second that the coaches don't go into these living rooms and say, look at what you're going to have when you get here.
You have to. You have to use every recruiting tool at your disposal.
One of my questions is, what if you are in the graduating class of 2019, right? Do you try to get like a redshirt year out of the deal so you can stick around to 2020?
Well, you still get the
play in
facility. You don't get the new stadium, but you still.
I guarantee
facilities
you're
there
become
every
sort
day.
of an issue, right? Don't you think?
I
do.
I don't.
The way that Sanchez phrased it is that he said, these kids, these high schoolers, they look at what's right in front of them.
Right, that's what he said.
And he said you can't sell cartoons. I think he called them cartoons, the renderings, right? And he just said the groundbreaking even a week ago was huge for him. I trust him. I believe that,
to a point.
Hopefully
to a point.
But that thing needs to be built. They need to walk in it. They need to see all these facilities
But at least
and all these dedicated
broken.
spaces.
At least
right.
it wasn't a thing where, what, if we actually if we get some great fundraising, we'll be able to do this. The money's there for them to move forward with this project, and there's shovels in the ground, and it's going to be a year, but they're going to have this complex, which is going to be one of, if not the best in the West.
I just point to what the Mendenhall Center did. I mean, you think about recruiting before the Mendenhall Center. I mean, Wink Adams was the top guy. Anthony Marshall was the top guy. Now you build the Mendenhall. Now you're getting McDonald's All-Americans coming in here. So I think once it's built, that makes a huge difference. You look at, again, baseball, which is not on the same level, at least not at this point, but they built their clubhouse. They didn't build before the clubhouse, as far as the roster goes. So hopefully with that clubhouse, it starts to make an impact. But I want to go back just a bit because we did talk to Tony Sanchez. Actually, one of my students talked to Tony Sanchez. So here he is, a little one-on-one with him after the announcement of the 9 signees yesterday.
So I want to start off with, I'm pretty new to the recruiting process and learning about sports in general. How do you win at recruiting?
You got to really look at what are the most enticing things about you. So there's a number of things. Number one, you want to talk about education. You want to talk about all the great degree plans we have and the success of this university, the vibrance, the growth, the youthfulness of it, the diversity of it. You're going to talk about the city, what it's like to live in Las Vegas. When you're not playing ball and you're not in class, what are the different things the city has to offer. And then the most important thing to a lot of these guys, should be education, and we get to them to that point. But a lot of it, they're looking for a football decision, and you need to talk to them about what it is you're doing and what you're investing. So the last couple of years, the way we've invested in building this Fertitta football complex, obviously having the new stadium coming in, the success that we've had, marginally we've grown every year. First time we've had 3 years in a row of growing in success. And so all those things added together show them that, hey, this is a place you can come and be very impactful and help build a great future here. So a lot of things. It comes down to relationships. You got to, who's helping to make the decision? Is it a mom? Is it dad? Is it a coach? Is it an uncle? You need to find that out. You need to develop a relationship with the players. And they're so in tune on social media now, you need to constantly be connecting with them. And some of it's natural phone conversations, some of it's through text, and some of it's just through your messaging. You can say so much just by some of the images you share with them about your university, your city, and your school.
And how excited are you to get these new sign-ons for spring ball on the field?
Well, I'm excited. So we have 5 new guys here right now, and then the rest will come in the summertime. But the 5 guys here, they're going to add immediate depth, and those guys are going to have a great opportunity to come in and compete right away because they're here, they're learning our system, and it won't be new come the summer.
And I know you mentioned earlier that this year's unique because you had the early sign-on. Can you elaborate on this uniqueness of it?
It really is. When we had the early signing day, we pushed so hard to get as many guys as we could signed at that point. It was kind of a rush. You're getting done right before Christmas time, and certain teams are still playing bowl games and championship games, so it was kind of a crunch there. But then having that time to have some time off to reflect, to kind of, relook at your group and how you wanted to go ahead and attack it, it really benefited us. Instead of going out and trying to make sure you're solidifying 22 to 25 guys, your real focus is just on 9 or 10 guys, so a lot easier to manage.
And lastly, how are you celebrating after this class?
Well, we've got we're going to meet up some donors at Joe Stone Crab, and we're going to have a little beverage session.
I hope you have a great time. Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me. Thank you.
I don't know what to say that.
College kids like hearing about beverage sessions.
Exactly.
Kill it, John. Kill it.
What was that voice?
I was a little slow on the
people
stopping the
around.
record, but you heard Tony at the end. Now we had a little
wasn't
chit chat
me.
with him.
Coach Sanchez.
The only Tony that Matt. No, I'm kidding. he'll take a few days off here and there now. I guess it is a dead period for football. They can't do anything really in the springtime, so he'll be able to relax for a few days. So he talked about having an adult beverage, but everything, and they always put on a good front, did you say a Ripple? Oh,
Red Bull?
Red Bull.
Red Bull?
Rebel.
They always talk about like they filled their needs, but again, I think legitimately now with the numbers that they have, again, as we touched on the defensive side of the ball, you expect to see results, and hopefully this new defense that the new coordinator comes in really makes an impact.
And offensively, they're stacked.
No, it should be
back.
great.
I mean, you get Charles Williams back full strength. Got to talk to him the other day about his progress, and he is progressing. He's going to probably second week of spring. He's going to be, going. So
really
you
anxious
have
to see
that
Rogers' growth.
Right. And it's
especially.
Oblad they brought in, and they brought in a JC guy. So Tony did touch on the quarterbacks as well, and he didn't say, we're just bringing these guys in just to bring them in. He wants, a competitive nature back there.
And that's what
competition.
That's what a coach will say. But I believe him.
Haley, any comments over there?
Yes. Well, old comments. Need to go back.
Oh, dust them off
I
and give them to us.
neglected some people, and I'm not okay with that. First of all, Melissa Gutierrez talking about JT, and he was amazing. So I'm sorry I was hating on JT a little bit. I love
The women
JT.
in the house
At least
love
someone
the
in the
JT.
household has taste there. Yeah.
So I could have been a little bit better, a little more exciting. I thought that Chris Stapleton was going to come out because they have a new song, and I'm a big Chris Stapleton fan, so I'm a little butthurt about that. And then earlier when we were talking about the Knights, Patrick O'Donohue said there is nothing this team can't do. Everything is on the table, including the Stanley Cup.
Hashtag Cup and One.
Cup in one.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far out of reach, so. And then I
Neither do
also
the books.
I posed the question. So Krispy Kreme is coming out with a special edition Vegas Golden Knights donut. You guys see that?
I did
No.
see it.
Yeah.
Breaking news
It's
here on
Monday,
Sports Adrenaline.
Monday.
Whoa,
It's
on
open to
sale?
the public.
On sale during
what is
for
it gonna
shutouts,
be?
or
It's I don't know. I didn't read specifics about it. I just know
When do
they're
you want it to
unveiling
be?
it on Monday.
when's
Well, if it's
next
a
Monday?
Golden Night donut, I imagine it's glazed.
Okay, you're right,
That's
right.
what
Wow,
I
that-
think golden.
I was going to say it's iced.
Or is it going to be?
Oh.
Or is it going to be a golden nut?
Thanks, Haley.
I get it. I get that one. And then also, I thought this was interesting.
Did you say something,
Andrea
Tony?
Roa said that the Knights are number one in the USA for their 51-49 raffle that they have. Their 50-50.
Holy smokes, that gets up to like $18,000, $20,000, $50,000. Was it $50,000?
Oh no, it was over $100,000. The Toronto
What?
Maple Leafs game, it went up to $140,000 or something
Holy
insane. Maybe it was $130,
smokes.
but it
Well,
was
and-
it was insane.
And shout out to Andrea. She works with the Las Vegas
She
Lights.
does.
I think.
Hey,
So,
thanks for tuning in.
Oh, so we are
Speaking of the
shifting
lights.
Yeah.
from football to
Football.
football. The
Football
Las
club.
Vegas Lights kicking off their inaugural season exhibition campaign, if that's such a thing. They take on the Montreal Impact of the MLS.
Three
this
MLS
Saturday
games
night.
in 3 weeks. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
to
great.
kick it off this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Freddie Adu, I guess, will be in uniform, right?
Yeah.
He'll be in
Yeah.
uniform
Sure.
for the Lights.
Not officially under contract yet. Is that? that what we're hearing?
I think he'll be there.
Yeah.
Let's just
And
plan on
speaking
it.
of uniform,
Speaking of, okay, he'll be in uniform.
what do you think of their new uniforms?
Yeah. We have we should have pictures
We have
of them.
pictures of them?
We can throw up there. So
Are
you guys
they up
can,
there? Yeah, we're having some monitor issues, but
I'm going to assume that they're out.
yeah, they're
they
probably
up?
up
Yeah.
there.
Are they
Thanks.
up, Rich?
Yeah. So, that looks great.
Where are they?
I mean, they're kind of call them minor league,
Eclectic.
I guess, right? They're
Eclectic.
fun though. They
Yeah.
Brett Lashbrook has talked about it a lot about the being representing Vegas and being kind of eccentric and out there and different. And I like the piping. I like that they went with the logo. It has kind of that neon piping instead of just your run of the mill stripes. There you got the picture of the player holding the jersey up in front of his face. And you have a little smiley face on
There's
the
a smiley
underneath.
That's the
face.
one they flip it over their
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. I think that's
celebrate.
pretty fun.
I mean,
That's
it's
a brilliant
it's,
idea.
That is
It's fun.
absolutely brilliant. And
That's
fun.
what they are. They're fun, and that's kind of what they've been promoting this whole time is come out and party. This is going to be a party. Brett wants to see the explosions in the stands and the smoke bombs and come
And,
out and
They
tailgate
got-
early.
they want-
Are they
all
going
over 'em. I think it's
Oh, please!
fantastic.
They're not
Yeah.
going to have vuvuzelas, are they? Are they?
I don't. Where do you get a Vuvuzela in Las Vegas?
There. Yeah.
You could find them.
At the Lights games,
Yeah.
apparently.
Well, I mean, that's what they usually bring to those huge international matches. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just since Haley's not at the desk anymore, Andrea again said we need a Lights jersey for the desk. Come talk to me, Andrea.
And scarves for the guys.
We can work something out.
Scarves for the
We're going to
guys.
be loading up on the
We
Knights
can work
gear.
something out.
Yeah.
The Lights this week, right, has been filled with constant activity, right?
It's been great. It's
So
a
yesterday was
every
the jersey unveil.
full-blown game week, right?
The day before was the shorts unveil, and then they talked about
Easy now, Haley. With the
with the
robes
robes,
at
right?
the plaza.
But then they had that unique aspect where if it's three goals in a home match
And
and
they
they
win.
And they win.
that each player gets a $100 poker chip to the plaza.
Not a poker chip, a gaming chip.
Didn't they say
Gaming
every member of Sports Adrenaline gets a $100 poker chip?
Isn't that the same
That
thing
should have
that
been.
poker?
No,
Isn't that part of the deal?
No, poker
No,
chips are
poker's
different.
different,
Yeah, it's
man.
different.
Come on, John.
It's a.
Gaming chip. Go ahead, John.
Where do we live?
So tell us about the tailgate party that's going on.
Yeah, that's what I have up.
Yes.
Thank you. And now the tailgate starts at 5.
Uh-huh.
Or excuse me, parking lot opens at 5. Tailgate opens at 5:30. Match starts at 8. Motley Brews is going to be there.
Match.
Then they
Look at this guy
have
with the lingo.
that's right. You got to get it right. Then they have food
And when
trucks
they
on
take the
site.
pitch-
They're going to have a stage with a mariachi band. They'll have a
Nice.
DJ, and then they have human foosball. They'll have soccer
What's
billiards. Giant Velcro wall, Lights FC,
Human foosball's
Plinko,
great.
I've never seen that.
and other tailgate games, which is
You
cool.
play with, so it's the actual, like, you just hold on to a bar and then you kick the ball or the, yeah.
Oh, I
it'll
thought
be
maybe I
stick the
strapped you to a bar and there are people on the side.
and then they flip you around.
You can
Yeah.
flip
I
over.
think
That'd
that'd
be
probably be a
great.
little bit of a liability.
Oh my
though.
gosh, that'd be so good.
No, it's definitely great. And then the giant Velcro wall is awesome, too.
Yeah, so again, everything's been going right. I wouldn't expect there not to be a massive crowd. You know, maybe it's close to a sellout.
They said
10,000.
over 700 people at the jersey unveiling last night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Respect.
really?
Well,
Wow.
and what they've been doing is with season tickets, they get a jersey. So, and they were having those for distribution. So, they've been doing a really good job with getting this team out there. Billboards everywhere. I've seen more
Best
Lights
marketing.
billboards
Best
than
marketing.
I saw Vegas Golden
I
Knights
by far.
think it's
before
going to
the
be.
season started.
I think atmosphere-wise, this is going to be one of the most fun sporting events you're going to find around here. Obviously, different than the Knights because that's NHL level and they're winning and you're bringing teams in that you've been watching for your entire life. But as far as just going out and having fun and just kind of having a little outdoor party,
And
I
I
think
tell
it's the
you,
place to be.
a year from now, when the 51s get their new ballpark and Cashman is all for the Lights, and they take that other wall out and put the other side of the stands, what an amazing atmosphere that's going to be.
And also, and Luis, get ready. We're going to come to you right now. But they had a turf laying. They put the turf on the field over at Cashman. So we've got a lot of great sound, and they've been talking quite a bit. So Luis has some of that sound. Luis, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so we caught up with a local UNLV player, Julian Portugal, and he gave us an insight how he feels about being part of this team, the first franchise, the USL franchise here in Vegas.
Before UNLV, I got to play in high school and organized club ball here, all in Vegas. So not to represent Vegas at the pro level is exciting. Soccer is very diverse. It's played all over the world, so I'm loving it. We have players from different parts of the globe.
You got
so
something close out?
it's exciting. Before the local combine and before all the process of knowing I was going to make the team or not, I put in a lot of work, a lot of hours of training. So I was happy to know that the hard work paid off.
So as the guy said, there's a game Saturday at 8 p.m. And if you're not into USL soccer and you just want to watch a soccer game, the MLS is going to be here 3 times this month. Montreal, Vancouver, and DC will be all here. Most of the games will be at 8 p.m. and the first one starting this Saturday. So if you're a soccer fan, I feel like this is a good time for you to check them out since we haven't had much MLS soccer here in town.
That's great. That's going to be
Luis,
that's
real
gonna be
quick,
good.
what's with the Longhorns hat, man? What's going on over there?
How's their soccer team? Okay.
I'm not a Longhorn fan.
Free hat.
It's the only hat I had.
Luis
Listen, I think it looks
Navidad.
good.
What I grabbed on the way out. I have
great.
a block of tickets that I got for
Thanks,
what I do
Luis.
with FCA for the next game, which I'm excited about. And All of us are getting free scarves, so I'm going to look like a footballer.
Nice.
And the Vegas Golden Knights scored again.
Yeah, I
William
can't-
Karlsson,
Did they?
29th goal of the season.
2-1.
2-1.
I can't wait. Saturday's going to be a fun day. It has to start with a UNLV win, though.
Yeah.
And then, so you go to that game at 5. You're done 7:30. Just head on over to Cashman.
Plenty of time.
Nice rebound goal by Karlsson.
And they haven't said it's a sellout, so I'm imagining. And tickets start at $15. I don't know if those are gone, but it's a pretty decent ticket. And I also, and I just caught a glimpse at that or this, but. Got an email from the Lights. If you signed up for their email list previously, Brett Lashbrook, had a mass email he sent out, and he wanted to invite people to the game, you and somebody else, for free. So if you were on their email list, you got a free offer to come out to this game with 2 tickets.
Terrific. Yeah, that's going to be great. And they also, to start the week off, I thought this was cool. They hosted the supporters section roundtable, on Monday night. So they went over, chants and, there's no etiquette. There's not etiquette. What word am I looking for? Just how how they're going to react and to make it, wild and great home field advantage.
Right.
I think that's smart because a lot of what you see in soccer is those organized chants. I mean, European soccer, it's insane the chants that these guys have going. So I think it's smart, exactly, and it's the entire game. I think it's smart to get people involved early and kind of direct them and tell them, all right, look, this is how we're going to do it. These are what the chants are going to be, and show them the path. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. Get out there and party, basically, have fun.
Let's move along here. In the Raider Nation, a lot going on. Let's start from the top here with Marshawn Lynch. Is that true? He blew off a meeting scheduled with John Gruden?
So Scott Winter with Las Vegas Raiders Report is reporting that he had a meeting and missed it, and that he's not returning any of the phone calls. They haven't been able to get a hold of him yet. We're also hearing that doesn't mean they're not going to have a meeting. They just haven't yet. Scott also said that the ultimate decision in whether or not Lynch returns to the Raiders next season, if he does want to be there, lies with John Gruden. So we'll see if today was just kind of a bump in the road or if this was more of a final straw kind of thing. Until they actually have a sit-down face-to-face, I don't think we're going to know too much.
Well, it made me wonder because if Lynch does not come back, I don't know that Washington or Richard is your main back. So obviously you could get somebody in the draft, but it made me
Le'Veon Bell?
And I looked at who the free agent running backs are coming into this offseason. Le'Veon Bell, which would be something, but he's going to ask way too much money. Way too much money.
They have to franchise.
But somebody like a Carlos Hyde, Isaiah Crowell, Alfred Morris, Jeremy Hill, I think is interesting because he won't be in Cincinnati anymore with the rookie running back there. LeGarrette Blount is a free agent, and Thomas Rawls as well. So there are some decent running backs out there as free agents. So who knows where the Raiders go, but they're going to need a feature back.
Right, and you heard my story, right, from over the weekend. So my good friend Nick Sakai at 12 a.m. Run, which is a sneaker shop, streetwear, so he has an in-store pop-up event with Marshawn Lynch this past Saturday. And so he invites me over there last minute. I go over there, and they start telling me stories as Lynch is there, just taking a lot of photos with the fans. He was great. He was absolutely awesome. But the NFL sends an investigator in to do a random drug test on Marshawn Lynch this past Saturday. And so he has to do a random P test, for lack of a better phrase. And so it was just strange. The NFL sends out an investigator specifically to just come back with that specimen, from Marshawn Lynch. And that was it.
That's a great story.
Haley? Well, now, okay, wait.
I like it.
No.
I
Keep
like
it on
it.
me. Keep it on.
Of course you
Keep
did.
it on. It took him 2 hours, by the way, to do whatever he needed to do.
Hit to drink some
What
Gatorade,
if,
man.
Just saying, hypothetically, what if these two stories are connected somehow?
That's a good point, Tony. They could be. Maybe he knows something about that test is not going to it's not going to be a good thing. It's Marshawn Lynch, man. He's just a different cat altogether. Eclectic, exactly. I mean, he's different. You never know what you're going to get out of that guy.
Beast mode wear is pretty cool, though, by the way.
So you're saying Marshawn is like a box of chocolates?
Yeah, without question. A whole ton of them.
Haley,
What's up?
what's up?
We're chatting. we're chatting over here. So Andrea came back. I think she was referencing the lights again. She said all games are at 8 p.m. Did we get that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we caught that? Okay, cool. And I was having a little chat with Casey on the case because he told me, going back to the Super Bowl, that I needed to thank the Chiefs for the Super Bowl win because that's where Peterson and Foles met in the first place. But actually, it is a lot of thanks to Andy Reid also because Foles wanted to retire. He called Andy Reid looking for advice. Before he even talked to his wife about anything, he called Andy Reid, like, what should I do?
He went 8 months without touching a football. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Andy Reid's a chief. I don't care about
To
him.
winning a Super Bowl. I want to say his nickname, but I can't. Love him.
Yeah. Large, well-endowed Nick.
Yes.
Well-endowed Nick.
Okay.
Well-endowed Nick. That's the G-rated version. Hey, really quick, I did want to touch on, so I went, and I don't, maybe Rick saw this. You probably saw it, the Preview Center at Town Square. Right. So Raider Image opened up a little while ago, but the Preview Center, I went there last night. And it was, really quiet at Town Square, just random weeknight. So nobody was in there. So I got to play around with everything, and I'd highly encourage anybody, even if you're not a Raiders fan, just get down there. It's not a huge space, but they've got video walls. They have memorabilia, like game-worn jerseys, a Marcus Allen jersey.
Nice.
And it kind of tells the story of the Raiders. So if you're not familiar with the Raiders franchise at all, it really does a good job of kind of capturing what the culture of Raider Nation is, which is really cool. The video walls were great, but then the part that I liked the most intriguing, they had this kind of 3D virtual setup where you could pick each level of the new stadium, right? And you could pick, upper mezzanine or lower deck, lower bowl, and you just pick each aspect, and it would kind of have a tiered display of each level, and then it would highlight the one that you picked, and you'd zoom in on it and show you where everything is located at. It was really cool. It was a really cool interactive display.
Nice.
I talked with, really quick, just somebody, one of the people manning one of the stations there, and just said, what's the deal if you made a deposit? She said within the next 3 weeks, everybody that made a deposit will be contacted via email, and you'll be able to set an appointment to go to the Preview Center, and the public can only see half of it. The other half are for people with appointments. They're probably going to have a nice model mock-up.
It's like
of
a
the stadium.
5 or 7 foot replica model of the stadium.
Yeah, I can't
they
wait.
Have in there, yeah.
Can't wait. So if you made a deposit, you can still do that, and you just want to go take a look at that rendering. There's your opportunity to do it.
So the Raiders, they cut David Amerson this past week, played just 6 games this past season. What is the status of Sean Smith?
I think Sean Smith's going to be gone, personally.
I don't know that we'll miss him.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's kind of a you need to put him up in the face of somebody guy, but he just gets beat too often. Terrible in space, inconsistent at best over the last couple of seasons. So I would not be surprised if you see him as the next secondary casualty.
They're talking about Tremaine Johnson a lot in the Bay Area from the Rams. He's a free agent. That would be a good fit.
Maybe
he costs a lot, though, right?
Butler.
Yeah,
a little salty after the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
a little.
He'll be a free agent.
Yeah,
so
that could happen as well.
Yeah, there's guys out there. We all think they're going to go, even though Roquan Smith is the big name out there in the draft coming up at inside linebacker. I think Bowman. Yeah, I think Bowman comes back, and I think they go secondary, first round of the draft.
So UCLA is handing it to number 13 Arizona. Wow, 79-67. I only say that.
St. John's. What about St. Geez, we should talk about St. John's.
I only say like that because Arizona does not have to play. Arizona State does not have to play the swing at UCLA and at USC. So
okay, great
scheduling quirk.
Thanks for that.
But that's a pretty big win. Now it's up to 15.
Nothing like Pac-12 talk.
Yeah.
No. Let's. I'll continue with the Raiders because there's a few things here, some items.
Okay.
City of Henderson City Council this week approving the sale of those 55 acres for the Raiders practice facility. Also, a quote from Reggie Wayne where he said this past week that he thinks wide receiver Amari Cooper, his weight gain last season made him slow and stiff like an 18-wheeler.
I disagree with that. I thought Cooper, when he was healthy, looked great. He just wasn't part of the game plan enough. And you just saw a guy named Terrell Owens go into the Hall of Fame who was big and bulky his entire career, and it never slowed him down. It's not like Coop came into camp 30 pounds overweight. He just added muscle to his frame, and he was still lightning quick.
He's got to stop dropping
you
passes.
saw exactly. He dropped the ball. It had nothing to do with being slow. When he got behind the secondary, nobody caught him. So I disagree with the assessment, but I've never played in the NFL, so what do I know?
time to do some final thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Past time for final thought.
It's time for
Haley's
He's ready to go back for round 2 of partying. out
Hey,
there.
I think Haley's still recovering from Sunday. Apparently, she's ready for bed. Over there. Hey, what's the deal? You're the youngest one here. What's the deal?
Yeah, I've been celebrating all week.
Oh, and you have a full-time job now, so
yeah, I
I get
did wake
it.
up
I
early
get
in the
it.
morning.
Yeah.
The spaghetti bowl
Hashtag
in the
real life.
afternoon.
Yeah, real
It's
life.
the worst thing ever.
It was bad coming over here too tonight.
Yeah. Show
Any
up
other
on time.
comments? Any other comments?
Actually, yeah, there was one
Our
I
folks?
skipped. Carlo Vanetti said, "Tell my buddy Tony Cardasco hi and congrats on making it to the big time."
Oh, buddy, this is definitely
You've
the big
reached
time.
the peak of your
This is
career,
the-
Tony.
Oh, and Glenn
It's the
Stiegel was
pinnacle.
watching
It gets
tonight.
no
Thank you.
bigger.
Thanks.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. What a time to be alive.
Oh, wait,
It's
he
the
came
pinnacle.
back. He came back.
It's the pinnacle.
Carlo Vanetti said Raiders play at least some preseason games at Sam Boyd until 2020 when the stadium opened here.
Got to, right? When's
hope
that going to be
so.
announced? Boy, I hope they announce that soon. I don't know
We
when
just
the-
broke it.
Yeah, when do the preseason schedules get announced?
Well,
I
it won't
mean,
be.
that's-
It won't be.
It's a big announcement, right?
It's not going to be this season, is it?
I think so. I think
Why
they
not?
could do it as early as.
I don't
as-
know.
I don't
if
think
they, I
it's
still
this
don't know
season.
if
I
they
think
really
it's
want to
next season.
slight Oakland and the fans there.
2019, 2020,
Maybe one more
2019,
year.
yeah.
2019.
What do you
Okay, so
guys
1
think?
year.
I hope they
I'd
do
like
it
to
this
see
year,
1
but
year.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Eagles Raiders preseason.
Eagles Raiders London.
Eagles Raiders is in London this year. That's right.
Eagles.
No,
There's another home
Seahawks.
game.
No.
And they have to play. They have to
No.
play an international game. It's
It's
part of the
Eagles
deal
Raiders.
It's
for
the Seahawks.
relocation.
Is it
Right?
Seahawks?
Yeah.
Since when?
Seahawks. Other bird.
No.
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 We'll take.
Fact
I'll take
check.
Doing
Haley's
final
word
thoughts?
for it. Hit it.
Go ahead, hit it.
Am I starting?
Yes, as always, Rick.
As
Do it.
always. Okay, so there are a few things I don't understand in life. I don't claim to be the smartest guy or the sharpest tool in the
We already
shed.
knew that, Rick.
My final thought. But I'm a fan. I'm a big fan, actually, of my teams. I love my teams. But when my team wins, I'm not going to burn anything down. I read an article that said this. Research attribute violent behavior to a hearty mixture of factors. Intense fan identification with the team, behavioral changes when people become part of a mob, and strong psychological and physiological responses when your team wins or loses. How about this? Have some self-respect. Have some self-control and be a fan and cheer and celebrate. But don't burn your city down. It makes no sense. So when we get the cup in one, hashtag cup in one, you're going to see the most classy, most amazing parade and celebration down the 4.3 miles of the Strip, and it's going to be incredible. We'll show you how it's done like we do with most things.
Matt?
I hope that's true. I don't know if you can speak for the 2 million people in the city, but I hope that's true. It'll definitely not be as destructive, I don't think.
We're not going to burn it down.
I just wanted to recap Sunday real quick, and not the game itself. Just I don't know where everybody watched the game, but in my household, Sundays, Super Bowl Sundays have become more or less a holiday. It's just another opportunity for my entire family to get together to really just enjoy just a fun day. It's not about Sunday dinner. It's not about somebody's birthday, anything like that. It's about everybody just coming into the house. We do it at my house every year. A lot more space in the house we're in now, so it's nice. But just coming together, having fun, a lot of good food, a lot of laughs. And this year it was even more fun because there is not a soul in my family that enjoys watching Tom Brady play football unless he's losing, and he lost this year. We had a great time. Have fun on Super Bowl Sunday. Try not to get crazy. If you are out at bars, things like that, obviously be responsible, be safe. But Super Bowl Sunday is a blast. I wish they'd make it a national holiday, even though we know that's never going to happen. But great time on Sunday. Thank you to my family. Everybody had a blast.
And boo to the commercials. That's not my final thought.
And by the way, it's Seahawks, not Eagles in London.
Yeah, I know, right. The young one. She doesn't get things right.
Still
It's
covering.
okay. Hey, final thought. It'll be really quick. It's just a call out and a blast on the UNLV bookstore. I don't know who runs this facility, but I visited that a couple times now. And Rich Jacovino, go ahead and throw up the photo. There's something wrong with this picture. This is on sale right now at the UNLV bookstore. I do work on campus, so I stop there regularly. And, based after the win against Reno last night, I figure, I just stop by there and just see how the merch is coming along. They still have a ton of merchandise with the old, the new logo that nobody's buying right now. But they also have this thing. Again, I'm hoping it's popping up. It's a maybe. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's a license plate frame. Runnin' Rebels,
no.
UNLV
God,
Runnin' Rebels,
no.
the Runnin' Rebels, Runnin' Rebels. Okay, well here it is. It's coming. Let's just delay it. We have a few people watching right now. I went there twice, and I saw it once, and this was probably about 3 months ago. Okay, I said this is an issue, and then I tweeted it out. Oh, there it is. Okay, a few second delay. Do you see what's wrong with this picture?
Come on, guys.
Gee,
That's
I don't
not
know.
real
That it says
metal.
metal license
Yeah,
plate frame?
exactly. Who
Is that
are
real
the
metal?
marketing geniuses
Is that real metal?
that approved this coming to the UNLV bookstore? And the worst part about this is that this, I took 2 pictures of this. The first one was a couple months ago, and that was filled with license plate frames. Now, you see how the racks are a little bit regressed there. They have sold multiple license plate frames that say UNLV Running Rebels. It is a crime against humanity. I tweeted it out. They didn't fix it. UNLV bookstore, fix this problem.
Same ones
May
got
I,
the
may
new
I add something
logo
to
up.
that, John, if you don't mind? I was at the UNLV bookstore this week because I wanted to get a new UNLV hat.
Is this your final thought?
I picked one up.
Again?
No, I'm adding to his. I picked one up, and on the back,
I'll
it
do
didn't
this
say
next week.
Rebels. It said
There is no
Red
format
Wolves.
tonight. There's no format.
UNLV Red Wolves.
You need to take a picture of that and tweet it.
I brought
What
it to
hat
the
is
guy
that?
at
Are
the
you
front. He's like,
making this
"What's
up?
that?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"You tell me."
I'll look for that.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
How about that?
Yeah.
Rapid
Geniuses.
fire for me.
Oh, thank heavens.
The Las
So that means
Vegas
7 minutes.
Well, since Rick went over,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
okay. This is equal time provision here. The Las Vegas Aces season tickets are on sale now. Boxing Triple G against Canelo Alvarez on May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I still believe that Floyd will be boxing someone, fighting probably Conor McGregor the week before. High school basketball, did you guys hear the news? Finley head coach Paul Washington placed on administrative leave. So something's up there. I'm sure that will become a big story. And finally, my story about Rashad Vaughn, former UNLV Runnin' Rebel. Running Rebel.
Yeah.
He scored 31 points in a game on July the 10th in the NBA Summer League. Milwaukee was playing the Brooklyn Nets. And the game was at Cox Pavilion. And the Bucks won the game going away, and Vaughn just was absolutely scorching the Nets, both literally and figuratively. And afterwards, we see Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN now heading to find someone over on the Nets bench for some comments and what have you after the game. And so I joked to the group that I'm talking to that, hey, I think Rashad Vaughn is getting traded to the Nets because he burned them, so now they'll probably try to make a trade for him, right? Quickly, the people in front of me start jumping up, and they say, don't start rumors. We get in an argument, and the guy looks just like Rashad Vaughn. I'm guessing it was his dad or something. Don't start any rumors. I'm like, hey, I'm just talking to our group here, whatever. And I wasn't starting rumors because we fast forward a few months later, and Rashad Vaughn was traded to the Brooklyn Nets.
Was that whole story just about you being right? I feel like that was just about you being right, Tony.
Haley, any closing comments over there? Anything happening? Thanks so much. Congratulations once again. Louise, congratulations on your Longhorns.
Eagles!
Eagles! Kevin Hart, though, that was
Kevin Hart was
Kevin Hart was his
Didn't
Did you see
I?
his Instagram with all those hashtags?
Yes, that was the best
It
part,
was
his
the
apology.
best. It was the best. And The Rock told him, he said, go to sleep, little guy, or something. It was awesome. Anything?
Andrea Roa said, what? Talking about the license
Okay.
plate.
Glad we got
What's
that
the
in
license
the end.
plate? The license plate.
Terrible.
And this, Haley, and this is the big time.
Yeah, and this is the big time. And
Yeah,
Sarah
yeah.
Owens won $400.
Welcome to the.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. My sister didn't realize until about 2 minutes to go that her squares were going to net her $400 if
Block
the
them?
score stayed the way it was after the
going
Eagles
hand
got
to
that
hand
last
And the
Did you break
Patriots
your mic?
lost.
the last field goal. So no, I just like holding it all of a sudden. I'm gonna hang on to it for a little bit.
Well,
Your shirt and be
that
like,
will
hang on
wrap
to it.
up tonight's marathon program. Did I get all my final thoughts of my final thoughts?
Yeah, man.
Oh my word.
Thanks again to our entire team here. Of course, Haley Brooks, Luis Negretti. We thank you so much. Our producer, Richard Giacovino.
Good job, Rich.
And, of course, we have Rick Strasser, Know You, Matt Gutierrez, no me, no I.
Yeah,
And
an I. There's an I.
I don't know. Yeah, there's no I, and never mind. And John Castanino, I'm Tony Cordasco. So long for now from Las Vegas. Thanks for tuning in once again right here on the Sports Adrenaline Show. Good night, everyone.
Go Knights, go!